Hello, in this video we will discuss about the nitric oxide function, the physiology of the nitric oxide, and we will look at the smooth muscle relaxation and contraction on the basis of the nitric oxide production and the inhibition. So let's begin to understand first of all the blood vessel structure. So outer layer of the blood vessel contain tunica externa, contain collagen, and the middle is the tunica media, is the smooth muscle layer containing cells, containing layer, and the endothelium, tunica intima, which that is the innermost, contain a endothelial cell. So remember, this is the blood vessel, and the nitric oxide will produce from the endothelial cell, and synthesis into the endothelial cell will target to the smooth muscle cell, and smooth muscle cell target through a simple diffusion. Remember, because it is gas and nitric oxide is gas. So here is the neuron, which that is a nerve innervation, will release the acetylcholine, will bind with the endothelial cell to stimulate the pathway for the production of the nitric oxide. So how it's possible? Let's begin to understand. But before the understanding of the endothelial cell for the synthesis of nitric oxide, we will understand the function of nitric oxide. So the epithelialization and the inhibition of bacteria adhesion angiogenesis will be occur also, and adhesion and the inhibition of bacterial adhesion will be promoted, and in this way the angiogenesis, so the bacterial prevention will be occur in this manner, while the neuron transmission through a nitric oxide will bind with the presynaptic to the postsynaptic neuron receptor contain a nitric oxide receptor. In this way the signal will be transduced, and in this way the signal will move and toward the postsynaptic memory, and the antithrombogenic property and vasodilation, collagen synthesis in the tunica externa, as well as the apoptosis. So let's begin to understand the endothelial cell first. So when the acetylcholine neurotransmitter will release from the end bulb of the nerve fiber, and after this bind with the G couple protein receptor, when bind to trigger the pathway, to trigger the IP3 pathway via a IP2 to phospholipase C enzyme used to produce the IP3 and the diacylglycerol. And in this way, the IP3 will target to the endoplasmic reticulum, and the calcium stored will be efflux. So the move into the cytoplasm from the endoplasmic reticulum. So when move into the cytoplasm, so the calcium increase in the cytoplasm. After the increasing of the calcium will bind with the calmodulin. Calmodulin to form a complex, because calmodulin only bind with the calcium, so calcium dependent calmodulin complex formation will occur, and after this activation, this will lead to target the nitric oxide synthase activity activation, and in this way the Arginine, which that is the non-essential amino acid, are present in the smooth muscle endothelial cell, and it will convert through a nitric oxide synthase enzyme to produce nitric oxide. And the L-arginine is the non-essential amino acid supplement can be take to enhance the nitric oxide for the vasodilation as well as the angiogenesis. So in this way, the nitric oxide and citrulline also can be produced, and the nitric oxide will be simple diffuse into the smooth muscle cell. After the move and entry into the smooth muscle cell, so the guanylyl cyclase enzyme will enhance after the binding with the nitric oxide within it, and the GTP will convert into the cyclic GMP through a guanylyl cyclase enzyme. To cyclic GMP activates to the protein kinase G, GMP, protein kinase GMP to activate the protein kinase GMP phosphorylase to trigger the phosphatase enzyme to dephosphorylase myosin light chain. And dephosphorylase myosin light chain will smooth muscle relaxation due to the dephosphorylation of myosin light chain. If the phosphorylation of the myosin and actin chain to contract, So let's begin to understand the smooth muscle cell contraction and relaxation mechanism. So in this way, when calcium will move inside through a L-type voltage gated channel for calcium influx. When the calcium will move inside, so the depolarization will be occur, and also the negative charge outside, while the inside is the positive, will be membrane action potential occur. And the membrane action potential, the calcium will bond with the calmodulin, and after the binding with the calmodulin, the calcium calmodulin complex formation will trigger the myosin light chain kinase. After the myosin light chain kinase will lead to trigger the myosin plus actin, and in this way the myosin and actin basically uh, phosphorylation will be occur, and after this the contraction will be occur. So the MLK, the myosin light chain kinase, which that is basically trigger the myosin plus actin to phosphorylation to trigger the phosphorylation to trigger the contraction, and in this way the contraction will be occur. So this mechanism is known as the contraction, while the myosin light chain phosphatase enzyme activity will lead to dephosphorylation, and the dephosphorylation of the myosin and actin is the part of the relaxation of the smooth muscle cell. And after the relaxation, the volume of the blood vessel will be increased, will decrease the low blood level of blood pressure level. So in this way, the relaxation is due to the nitric oxide. Here is the nitric oxide will target to the GTP enhancement to cyclic GMP, and the cyclic GMP will increase the myosin light chain phosphatase enzyme, will lead to dephosphorylation to get a relaxation of the muscle. So remember, the phosphate group addition is known as the phosphorylase, while the deletion of the phosphate group is known as the dephosphorylase. So in summary, we will discuss about the smooth muscle relaxation and contraction. So the nitric oxide is very important and play functional role for the relaxation of the vessel. So the nitric oxide is the vasodilator and decrease the blood pressure and increase volume of the blood vessel to circulation of blood more efficiently, and decrease the atheroma, decrease the plaque formation and the arteriosclerosis and heart attack. And nitric oxide is a gas molecule, can be diffused easily in blood to cell. So remember, the L-arginine is basically is the a booster of the vasodilation as well as angiogenesis. So the L-arginine increase the blood vessel angiogenesis. So I hope you make sense about this. So this was the video about smooth muscle relaxation and contraction via nitric oxide activity. Bye.